I mean, nonetheless, listen. Okay, that it makes more sense if it's just map
if he's
one.
got something to say.
You know, I don't know. I'm a little bit bullish on Heroic here. I think this is going to be another good tournament for them if we compare to Dan's point, right? How they kind of finished the year. I would make the same argument to mousesports. I do think that they have gotten a little bit better as of late. Now, granted, again, as I pointed out, they just replaced Chris J with Acor, so mousesports was one of the teams that did play a lot of the maps. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kerrigan has in store for us here.
Sapphire with the finest hair in Counter-Strike. Follow her on Twitter. Maybe she'll give you some tips.
She does do a lot of giveaways and stuff too.
You know, when I used to watch the Dignitas female team play, she'd send me the IPs. I would just watch their matches on GoTV because they were organized and it was good. Sapphire's awesome. But anyway, I think Cadian is like the personification of the hard grind in Counter-Strike. We'll see if it continues in this particular match. So far, so good for Heroic. 5 versus 2 in the pistol round in the first half of the first map of this series. CZ75 on Storm. Give him 1 kill. Acor's got that extra range with the P250. Frozen with the Glock now down to 1 HP. But maybe he can do something. The bomb hasn't been spotted on him, of course, because it's carried by Acor. And now dropped by Cadian, leaving Frozen with a lot to do and not much to do it. This would be such a low percentage clutch. 1 HP, 1 versus 4 in a pistol with a Glock. You can see him trying to show his gun there to bait some shots. He'll take 1 out, but the trade was almost inevitable, all but inevitable, and indeed, Heroic will take the pistol.
I gotta say, like, it's really hard for me not to be a fan of mousesports so long as, you know, Rops is on the team. And I was gonna say, you know, Rops and Chris J. Obviously, Chris J is not there, but I've discovered since now seeing that this lineup doesn't have like most of that original core that I still love this team, and it's probably it's because of Rops. I think I don't know what it is exactly.
I also like how Kerrigan calls. I think, you know, Kerrigan's teams tends to be exciting to me. I think he does manage to get them competitive almost every single time. I think he has a great track record. That's a great opening from Acor. There's a full buy from mousesports, Deagles, and just a scout. Half armor on Acor. This is a good spot from a Kerrigan. 5-on-3. No nades have been done. It's from the opening of Acor here. Nice little scout shot on Borup. See if they can finalize here.
This is very dangerous. Oh, it's getting a lot worse too. It's not looking like they're going to have a good time with it. It's getting overwhelmed on the site now. Just Nico remaining, and there are many man to contend with here all around him. Just toying with him at this point. I think Frozen could have knifed him if he wanted, but there we go. Carrying wall, close it down, and Acor opening up with the scout. I feel like that's a premonition of things to come. I think Flashpoint 1 was when I first saw Acor, and really I think kind of what he can do. And I feel like I'm still waiting for Acor to show the world that he can become an incredibly insane player. Like he has that skill. I think it's just the platform, and as you were saying, Robin, being on a Kerrigan team is a pretty good way to show off what you can become.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a step towards it as well, right? Like you're saying, he comes from Mad Lions. Like I can't remember when he played before Mad Lions, but he goes from Mad Lions into mousesports, right? I mean, that's an upgrade even if you consider Mad Lions a very good team, right? Like mousesports, I don't think they're currently in the top 10, but, you know, being a consistent team in that ranking and top 15 at least. So absolutely, I think there's a lot of experience to be gained here from Acor, if you think long term as well.
I always thought that was the biggest thing holding back Mad Lions was they didn't have enough wisdom. I felt like the team were very disciplined, but they just needed somebody with more experience to kind of help them catch up a lot faster with all the young players that they have.
It's what I was talking about, the development stages, right? Compare that to Sweden or even, you know, Norway. Like that doesn't exist there, right? But then if you look at Denmark, yeah, you have Mad Lions, but what do you have right under them? It's Copenhagen Flames. So like you kind of have this ladder of development that you can kind of take. And like you're saying, James, like I think that's really that differentiates or separates, you know, a really good team to the, I guess maybe tier 2 teams right now online is that experience that you kind of provide from having the veterans on your team.
I think if they had like a threat who is probably still one of the unicorns at the moment, he could do so much with that squad of players. But obviously he's quite busy doing that with a different team at the moment. mousesports 2-1 now. Fun.
It seems like that you make the argument of like when you have older, like for example Fetish, right? Like I think he's already coaching another team, but like older guards, people like that that's coming back. I think they're good spots for like Mad Lions spots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now that I talk about it, I actually feel like maybe that's where he's at. No, I think there's a lot of talent. I think based on what we saw last year with NA with CS:GO, but if you compare it to Europe, I think this European scene is just keep blossoming and keep growing. We have a lot of exciting young talent that's just keep developing as well. Nice,
beautiful flashbang. Very, very nice indeed. Down goes Carrigan. Heroic making use of a difficult situation. That's some good map control as well, which Robs is trying to do something about because there's no one in main. However, he's got eyes on it from Pop Dog, so he knows it hasn't been compromised. The creep continues to quietly switch weapons, but Stone can't get into position in time. They didn't see the weapon switch though, so Nico is position unknown. Trigger discipline looking for two. There's one, a very nice second headshot. We got Frozen here as well. It's going to get even worse for them. Still not good though. 2 on 3. Frozen elevating to look into connect up. And he lives in regret, or dies in regret rather. That leaves Rops alone now. He has got pop flashes from down here through the glass up top.
I look where the bomb is though.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. I'm probably just gonna be saved by AK. Might do some damage. I mean, it's still winnable, sure, but 32 HP, armor on all 3 members on Heroic as well. I was gonna say this was looking dangerous for Heroic there. I mean, losing the first anti-eco, double buying, have a half buy here as well, just Eagle half armor. That they're able to win this is going to be amazing for them on that CT side. Because look at their money now; they have upgrades as well. 3 weapons on the board that they just picked up in a round that wasn't going to be winnable. So this is basically getting a round for free here. This is nice. I can't believe he hits the second one, like the flick there, based on like
fast.
Yeah, like he runs there too. Here we go. Still a buy though on mousesports. We have an AWP on A core, so won't be seeing one on the Heroic side though. 2 AUGs though.
It's always interesting to kind of see how, let's say, Carrigan is going to try to use A core, as you say, just jumping into the lineup. It seems like it's a player that you can give a lot of freedom to. Speaking of Carrigan, he's going to get exploded by a grenade. So that's not a good start for mousesports. It's always really rough when you go down 4 versus 5 in a situation like this, because you kind of want to just go off of the positions that you have, but also kind of group up. You don't want to be in that picking phase anymore. You don't want to be in a position where you could go down into like a 3 versus 5 before you've gained any position. Position is really important to try to find at this point. And on train, it's so hard. I feel like this is one of the most hopeless maps to be in this spot because there's just no openings and you're very spread apart if you want to split as the T side. So it's very hard to like distract attention.
Especially if you lose T-Con controls, because you kind of saw that now. Carrigan going down, he's the one guy that's holding T-Con. Normally what you see if they're taking over Ivy is that CTs tend to push into T-Con, for example, taking a little bit more deep map control. mousesports wouldn't have been in a position to kind of counter that at the moment, so kind of forced them to fall back. So yeah, to your point, Dan, like losing entry so early on this map is really difficult. There's not a lot of openings. Obviously, CTs as well just keep smoking it down. There's 30 seconds left on the clock now. Forced to make a move, and Robs, that's a nice entry though. Makes it a 4-on-4. We actually have a round on our hands now. As I say,
no.
Nice little double. Good spot as well in E-box.
That was an outrageous entry from Robs, maybe feeling like it was it had to be done, and Robs is entertaining because he's running the clock down for them, entertaining while Cadian drops off the last 2. mousesports had Robs make again an outstanding entry, very necessary for them to progress, but was definitely cut short by Heroic. 3-2 now.
Just around like that, when we talk about experience, what Borup does, like you could argue he gets to 2. Normally an inexperienced player here, he would go for more. He would go and kill the guys on T-Con, but you see how patient he's playing Borup there. He's just staying alive at E-box, which forces mousesports, the last 2 members, to just stand and hold, which for Caden gets the 2 kills at the end, shoots him in the back, right? So we talk about experience, we talk about making the moves. I think this Heroic lineup is definitely learning a thing or two the past year. I think we would have seen them maybe be a little bit more cocky there otherwise. It's a good round nonetheless.
It's actually crazy too, as like a general statement, how much the overall level has improved.
It's insane.
Counter-Strike.
There's so many teams that's competitive. Like, you can make the argument that a top 40 team can, you know, surprise against a top 15 team. Because look at the top 40 at the moment, the list, right? Like, there's some good teams on there.
Yeah, it used to be the case that if you weren't in the top 8, and even some of the teams in the top 8, you may not even be able to cobble together like a well-rounded game of Counter-Strike that's fundamentally sound.
It used to be very top-heavy, like the top 4. It was always the same teams in semifinals. You know, you could always surprise, maybe hit playoffs and quarters, but then that game would always be like a 2-0.
It's amazing. It's really interesting because in terms of like how long CS:GO has been around as an esport, it's not a super long time, but at the same time, it feels like a long time in the esports world. But it feels like it's kind of still just the beginning of so much more to come. So I hope that like everything goes well and CS:GO continues to keep just progressing upward, because it's just so interesting to see year on year the developments.
I think grassroots and I think, you know, middle of the pack of not tier 1 tournaments, I think is super important to keep supporting, because based on the landscape right now, we can't get to a point, right, where we're back to 15, 20 teams being supported on the, you know, top heavy, and then no one else is getting anything.
Yeah. I think that's something that's Valorant is actually helping with, providing like an extra sort of marketplace for those people, so that those players still have a place to go to become professionals with these skill sets.
I can't believe they're already down on bomb side here. Robs is just going absolutely mental. Gets to 2. Bomb goes down though, but Carrigan is still an upper. Did he just walk down lower? Like literally just one pop flash and then that was it? Welcome in.
I think Robs is on Barb Salt today. That's my conclusion from what I've seen so far.
Oh.
He's currently in connector as both CTs have traded positions with the Ts, looking to enter the site now, Tesses and Cadian. Cadian coming in from the back as Tesses looks to show some presence. Cadian needs to watch Tesses's back though. I've planted in. There's a nice landing of a shot from Cadian. Molly, Rox has to be careful though. He's very low on health, looking for the elevated position. Ooh. One tap from Cadian as Rox was low. Second AWP if they want it, and they do. And Heroic make it to 5 from 7 rounds on their CT side. A good start so far.
Really good retake there. mousesports, like I said, they got in. We just see the last stages of here, but they just walk in. I think it's just one pop flash goes in, and to James' point, maybe Robs is on bath salts or something, but he runs down, gets 2 entries on the bomb side. Still one member from Heroic still left on upper, but the fact that they managed to retake that after, nicely done. Another buy here though from mousesports, sloppy one. It's a half buy, but Kerrigan actually buys full AK armor. And he's dead.
Yep.
He had a good spawn. I think he wanted to just go out there, maybe get the entry on ladder room, because they know that they've been contesting it every single round, and then for these guys to just fall down. Robs with the scout there as well, potentially just causing some havoc outside by E-Box, but with Kerrigan going down, forces them to kind of just go inner. And the goal here is really just to get the bomb down. Do some damage as a bonus.
Ooh. Oh.
Get a cheeky boost here. All right, guys.
Crouch.
All right, we'll see. It's gonna.
Oh, Robs is the man to make any jump you want. He spends more time on KZ than anyone else.
No. Oh man. All right. Maybe we might see it again. There's so much noise being made as well. I think they just said like this. They know, man. They know.
Ooh, that was a close one, dude. The scout.
1080p counter strike from Robs. Hilarious how much of a revelation it's been this week. All deleted. Oh, mousesports. Not getting much of anything from that, despite their best efforts. A little clumsy today, but as always tomorrow.
Yes, so looking at the CT side so far from Heroic, they're actually not doing anything in particular. I would actually say what the round that mousesports just did with Kerrigan trying to go out T-Con fast, I would actually love to see that on a regular weapon round instead, to try and put some pressure on Heroic. We kind of see the same tendency of like, there's just, now we have a double up setup on Heroic as well. So like getting out and trying to fight and getting the smoke wall up might be the next play. But because Kerrigan bought the AK last round, again, we see the same round again with not a lot of utility. Default though. 2-1-2. And we see, look at Heroic, right? It's Borup. He's so aggressive in T-Con. This is very default, but, you know, Kerrigan going down here again is why he's playing so defensive.
Imagine if there were 2 HEs there, man. I was talking about this earlier on. We even showed a video of it. I think it was originally made by GotB to have that molly on the outside, force a CT4 to have 1 or 2 HEs down the ladder for the guaranteed kill. mousesports trying to make this round viable. 3-on-3 at present, but the snipers are going to be up close, and Acor with a quick scope will take down Storm. Tessus and Nico now. Nico heading towards Old Bomb.
Oh, the timing.
Really great recovery so far for mousesports if you consider how the start went there. Tessus nailing one in ladder, but here we go. Carrigan gets a backstab, and that might really just put Tessus at too much of a disadvantage. He'll creep out from Pop using the smoke, but they have a great sense as to his position, and although Carrigan goes down, now Tessus is out in the open, and Blimus will find him. So yeah, great recovery in that round from mousesports, and I'm curious if we'll see any more tactics around that pop dog position. I agree with you, James.
I was going so to speak about that. I think the reason why it kind of stopped, why teams stopped doing that was because when you do the double molly, if you haven't gotten rid of the CT smoke yet, they will just smoke one of the mollies and will stand in it, right? And they won't really die. And I think there's so much utility being wasted on getting ladder versus then, for example, just waiting. But I do agree. I mean, I think I'm surprised that we don't see it maybe every now and then, maybe like once a half, just to showcase of like, hey, listen, like we're gonna fight for ladder. But instead, people opt against it. Same positions again from Heroic. So to James's point, you know, a ladder molly round here could work just to get some more map control, right? We've seen it as well. Like mousesports have been struggling on that, getting that control. So very aggressive setup here.
Cadian's the only man I could think of who uses the Lightning AWP on a regular basis.
There's been a lot of, I feel like the game's been out for so long now, especially skins. There's been so many old school skins that we don't see nowadays.
I know the classic ones are the
Lightning, the Deagle Blaze.
Yeah, I think the Prince Streamer's got the new crown though, as far as the Deagle's concerned. Oh, Tesso's creeping around. Left. And just as you mentioned, he threw a smoke and a molly on that occasion. The previous round he was forced forward. But wanting to repeat his behavior, he'll change his timing. Indeed, the time is starting to run low. Nice flick from Cadian. Landing his shots today. Or having to dance around, he smokes towards Ivy. Cadian coming in for support, though he can't see much. 35 seconds on the clock. The bomb is bringing in an Ivy at the moment. And the support's just been taken out. The frozen gone, and Acor may not survive this.
It's a rough spot to be in if you're mousesports. It's the same kind of problem that they're having, that they're not having a chance to kind of go outside and fight a little bit. Round's still not over, but it's 15 seconds left. Acor being very low here. Yeah, I was going to say, there should be a call for a save. But yeah, Heroic, there's no reason for them as well to kind of not keep doing what they're doing, playing this aggressive. They're very fast on the rotates inner as well, playing the 4 members, 1 in ladder room. Even if he ends up going down and falling, there's still 2 members there ready to fight. So we'd love to see, a change of pace for mousesports here. Let's put Heroic on the spot and do some fast rounds. Even if it's a fast alley round, like it doesn't matter. I just want to see like a change of pace so Heroic can start to guess a little bit more.
Yeah, the default setup on the CT side here looks really, really strong, and it's a lot about also using the utility really efficiently. So you have the ability to kind of react as the round progresses, and that's something as well that I think isn't talked about as much necessarily, is how you're able to give an argument for a team to use more utility than they should, giving you that advantage going into the mid or late rounds in terms of util. I think on a map like this, it's really important, and it kind of goes back to that point you were making previously about how much do we really want to invest on ladder? Is that actually kind of plus EV or not in terms of our rounds? And we'll see if the pace will change here. It would be a round which would make where it would make a lot of sense. Not a great situation in terms of the util, and Carrigan just on a deagle, so he could be the sacrificial lamb. We'll have to see.
And because mousesports hasn't figured out a way to sort out ladder room, that's why Heroic keeps on standing there, right? Like, I think really the struggle has been just the fact that we'll see it here, and this is really, again, right, to force out the smoke, maybe early. Normally CTs tend to be smart, though. If they don't have to use the smoke, they won't. But here we kind of see the timing, right? So that's what I talk about. It's 1:15. The smoke has been placed down from Tessus, which means that he's forced to kind of back out of ladder room unless he has a teammate that's going to come with a backup smoke. So now we're in a much better position for mousesports in terms of like actually just getting proper map control. And then let's say that they wanted to execute outside now, they would be in much better positioning. But as we see, they're moving inside, which was the plan all along. The regular default is 2-1-2. This round they were playing a little bit more 1-1-3. Oh, and this could be trouble.
This is going to be epic. Acor gonna get traded here, surely. Thing and a dong. More than one kill for Heroic. Carrigan barely alive. Great place, Molly. That's a bomb spotted as well. Limited rotation now for mousesports. Heading towards pop, but there are also flames. Got to be real careful. Just kissing the flames there. And there's another incendiary. Well, there was. Maybe a bit like on the mini-map. But there will be a smoke towards Ivy to try and give them a chance to plant a bomb. But Tessus is waiting kindly. Cadian just trying to run distraction as he looks to post up. Bombs dropped now, and Carrigan with 14 HP needs to take a decision here. Although it's been taken away by Tessus, and Heroic stop mousesports with a very cheeky play on the ramp.
Yeah, what do you guys think about this mechanic in the game? I think people would have probably figured it out like 1.5 to 2 years ago, maybe. We sit in the smoke, and as it's disappearing, there's like some very, very tiny amount of time where you get that kind of one-way advantage. Obviously, that was abused there massively. Super smart, but what do you guys think about that being in the game? Do you have opinions?
People start standing in them because you have that advantage of seeing people first when the smoke starts to fade, and I'm not a fan of it. Like, technically, it should be the other way around. So that's why you kind of see like people just sitting in smokes nowadays. I don't know. It kind of, for me, I kind of didn't like it because, like, sure, we do see a little bit more plays of like, oh, people walking through a smoke and getting maybe a 2 or 3 kill nicely that they shouldn't have gotten. But at the same time, like, yeah, I'm not a fan of like the actual bloom and what's the outcome of it.
I assume it's not by design. I don't know if there's like some kind of engine limitation, but indeed I agree that ideally people outside of the smoke should be at the advantage, not the other way around. But it is what it is.
They've been having so many problems with this. I mean, at least they're in a better state now than they were before. Nice. Oh my God, nice aggressive play from Nico. They go again. We can see, man, Heroic comes back again. I talk about mousesports being a little bit too slow, and I know maybe that's their playstyle a little bit, but when we see Heroic just taking a lot of map control again and again, like they're taking everything for free, like you have to question it for mousesports because you're getting to a point where you might have a good idea, but look at the spacing, look at the mini-map here as well, where Heroic are, right? Like all 4 members are here, like they have a Tessus as well, super fast on the flank. Even if mousesports ended up getting the first kill there, they would have just been dead, bombed down maybe. That's about it.
Yeah, it seems like mousesports have been suffering a lot in these regular gun rounds from just not being able to win either pop or Ivy. Like one of the two, you kind of want to be able to win as a T side. Obviously, both is great, but you usually force a rotation from one of those positions if you win one of those positions. So we'll see a faster approach outside. So looking like they're trying to make something happen, but it's not going to be met with any positive results. Not just yet, at least. 2 players going down for mousesports, and they've lost forward positions. So they've lost a lot and gained nothing for it.
Oh, yeah. That's worse.
Yeah, and same thing there. We kind of talk about timing and in the sense of like when do CTs rotate back so they have 2 guys in there, and you kind of do it after the first T smokes kind of fade that you throw outside, and that timing wasn't met. And obviously that's on purpose on mousesports, but we see there again with Heroic playing 4 guys outside, it's just a straight brick wall for mousesports. And then here as well, very late on the ladder take as well, right? Only being 2 members alive, and Nico still has a smoke, so Heroic has definitely been the better team by far so far this half. I think we can kind of definitely see the struggle that mousesports have with the new player that we kind of talked about coming into this game, which is why the odds for me, even if it was just for map 1, was a little bit weird. I think Heroic is really showcased, and again, that they are a very competitive team. And I feel like they're one of those teams as well that they are pretty consistent. You barely see them getting these scrappy losses that you might not think that they would be.
Oh, have a look at this pilgrimage up Ivy very quick. Storm's got some sound cues at the very least. He's also picked off Acor down Ivy, and he's going to get shot from Carrigan, I think near main or something. Big flashbangs as well, but things still going heroic space somewhat. Now it's down to a 2 versus 2. Carrigan looking to sweep. TeSeS waiting though, holding the angle. Got Nika looking to make a rotation. Maybe some sound cues from his teammate. They'll roughly know where one of these players is. There's Carrigan spotted by Hell, but TeSeS looking for that second player. Where is Rops? Unfortunately for him, he's only got a scout. There's a tag onto Nico. They know where he is now. Needs to try and avoid a double peek. However, his chances are taken away by TeSeS. A stronghold from Heroic in this first half. mousesports, the best they can do right now is 4.
And we can kind of see the struggle that mousesports having as well. I mean, I don't think that, I think we stopped bashing on Kerrigan a little bit more as of late, which is fantastic. Again, I think he provides so much to the team, but you know that the team is in trouble as well when we see the scoreline and Kerrigan is having the best series based on what we got. We also know that he has the toughest spot being his sole player in T connector, and he's still the one getting some extra kills here. So it's definitely been an uphill battle for mousesports. Have not had a good time here on that CT side or that T side. And it's another default 2-1-2 again. Feels like, if anything, it looks like they're just practicing it. Same setup. This is, we call this a Fnatic setup on the Heroic side. Now, Nico moved, but the setup there with ladder, E-box, and behind 5. And then 2 guys in there. You have a diagonal line. You can fight basically everywhere. Ladder, if they come out T-Con, you're 3 there. If they come out Ivy, you have a good setup there as well. It's a good start here from mousesports, at least getting the entry. A lot of chip damage as well.
55 seconds to go, and we'll start to see a rotation down towards Ina, at least from Bimus. His teammate is actually above the pop ladder still. And they do have a deep position with A-Core there on Ivy. So they've got that Ivy control. This is, you know, some of the stuff I've been talking about here. You need to win some position, and A-Core's able to capitalize, peeling off an additional player away from Heroic. Heroic are in definitely hot water at the moment, but time is starting to play against mousesports. They've got to speed things up. They've only got 20 seconds for a plant, and now they start to approach from team main, and the entry kill is there, but Storm could still ruin their chances.
Very nice smoke off the ladder from Carrigan. There will be a boost. Trying to find it well timed. Carrigan stands up. Will he be spotted by Storm? He will. A tag, but he's alive for now. The HP grenade goes in the wrong direction, but Bardolph can do what he can. Traded by Bemis, leaving Storm alone. 1v2. Very tough spot for him. He has a defuse kit. Got to be careful about his barrel concealing his position. Has no idea where to look. See how he's swinging around, trying to cover everything as best as possible. He's made some footsteps down. He needs to draw out one of these players. There's a grenade burst from Bemis. He eats a flashbang, and there's a little burst. He's run out of bullets. That will mean a peak. And 4 rounds from mousesports at half time. Is it too little, too late? We'll find out after the break. Number 7. Summit number 7, not 7-11. It is 11 for Heroic, though, who have moved to the T side after a very successful defensive side. It's mousesports' turn to defend now, and it all starts with the pistol. They've all got Kevlar and USPs, no utility, no defuse kit. Nothing of that sort for mousesports. They have simply armored up with 3 on the B-bomb side.
Yeah, and the only thing we should consider here is then we tend to be very quack on Jesus.
Quack?
Yeah, we're very quacky, very quick on the retakes. With 5 armors, and we see the same, right? Like, if you look at mousesports pistol round setup, it's 3 guys inner. It's very common to go inner and plant the bomb, and we're looking to fight here. If you're mousesports, it's not going to be any flashbang retakes or anything like that. Like, we're looking for headshots, and that's a good start from Frozen.
Oh, it's a huge start. Getting to pick up 1 player on the entry. Beautiful stuff. And Rops is on the bomb train too, and they aren't able to deal with him. Frozen still doing damage. Eventually, Rops goes down to be able to get the bomb planted, but it's going to be tough for KT to pull his gun out. No bullets remaining. Has to go for the reload. Somehow still alive, but that's been taken care of.
Man.
So
what a nice round by Frozen. That's a 4 kill from him.
It's clean.
And
Yeah,
he runs for it as well. He jets it when it starts the plant. Unfortunately, he doesn't get it by the time the bomb goes down, but very nice hold.
That first kill
Heroic thing be happy with the plant.
So much as well. Like, it just stops the T's from getting forward position. If they don't get forward position, it's just so hard to win the rounds.
We'll see. Common to buy here, getting the bomb down on the T side. See if Heroic feels the way. I like this because you know, when we buy on second round, like, yeah, sure, you can get a decent round, you can drop some weapons and AKs and stuff like that. The round that Heroic is doing now, where it's a half buy, you know, let's buy some deagles, let's try and do some damage. Sure, you're giving some more economy to the CT side potentially, but your third round buy here on the T side, getting the bomb line, it's just going to be so strong. You're going to get everything that you want.
Well, here comes the push. Numbers game trying to just have a few that advance. Rest will die it. Unmarked graves on the battlefield. Well, Bardolph's picked up a Desert Eagle from one of his teammates. Some damage to be done here. Now, he could stay in his position and try and engage in some kind of 1v1 down a tight channel. BMS will oblige him and shoot him in the face with the shooty gun. Round number 6 for mousesports. Successful CT side so far, but now the real game begins as Heroic are in for the bye.
Carrying is just honestly hard carrying right now. Sure, they're down 11-6. We need the other mousesports members here to wake up a little bit on the CT side. Full buy now though on the hands of Heroic. It's a good buy round from mousesports too. Just no AWP. Acadian does have one. So a little bit of a change of pace here. We compare that to mousesports T side. They did a lot of 2-1-2 defaults. Heroic's first weapon around here. 3 in T-Con, 2 Ivy. So we're looking for the smokes to fade here for Ivy guys to get in position. We're going to be taking over that left side, outside.
I mean, already this T side looks better from Heroic.
They're being choked out, to your point, Dan, right? Like, they have to take control somewhere, and they're being completely choked out here, mousesports. Like, they're forced to back up more and more towards the bomb side and ladder room, which means that Heroic is getting map control.
They've used pretty much all their utility as well, and these forward positions are starting to pay off as fights are forced. Acor looking to try to create some kind of recovery. It's a great frag. He does have good anticipation. Even gets the dink on Tessus, but importantly, Tessus still lives. 4 versus 2 in favor of Heroic. Rops and Frozen need to be able to find at least a kill here before they being Heroic, get that bomb planted. And you can see Heroic are a bit tentative here. They have a lot of time, so they are just holding position. I love when teams do this, to try to see exactly what the response might be of the CTs. Is there a lurk somewhere? Is somebody going to misread the pace and overstep and we can punish it?
Oh, this is such a cheeky fake because he's just running, right? And he has the one smoke left and he wasted inside to just fake. But I think Frozen here, as we pointed out, by Bardolph getting that kill, actually, that might be the round win for him. But I was going to say, Frozen, I feel like, actually knew what was happening.
Oh, there's 10 seconds on the clock. What the hell?
He wins that! Oh, no. I can't believe that happened. You didn't need to do the fake there, the Heroic did. Like, the one smoke you have left, you want to use that to get the bomb down somewhere else. You had good positioning, but you used it instead to fake. And this is such a smart play from Frozen. You could argue, okay, Frozen, here's the step. Maybe he goes up and tries to kills that guy. But this is very smart play from Frozen, right? He sticks around. He knows we have a guy in there. Even if it goes down, puts himself in a position where this is possible. 15 seconds left on the clock. Gets the 2 kills. Getting the 3rd here. I mean, he didn't even need to get Nico. At this point, he just needs to survive, honestly. He would have still won the round. But this is such a cheeky round, man. This is what you need. This is a comeback. This is a great round from Frozen as well. He had a great pistol round, 4 kills from him. And here this is a 3 kill to win the round from mousesports. We talk about people getting activated and coming alive. Frozen is doing just that.
Yeah, that was amazing. That might be the thing to energize them and to wake mousesports up from their sleep. That sleepy first half that they just had. And I actually really loved the fake as well, honestly. I actually thought it was really, really cool to see that. You don't often see fakes like that. But Carrigan, he's pushed all the way through Team Main here. This is very brave, given the fact that, you know, the equipment's pretty poor for Heroic. Normally, you wouldn't necessarily make moves like this at this point in the round with everybody left alive. But he is walking slowly but surely onto the flank of the majority of the Heroic players.
Oh, I guess found the bomb. Now. Yeah.
That's the bomb.
Of course, it's Cadian that peeks it too. That's, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, mousesports, I think, know as well that Heroic should be somewhat low on money. Like, the fact that Kerrigan does that, I mean, I like it, though. We talk about, you know, them waking up, and they did not do a good job with the map control. So Kerrigan being a little bit more cocky here on the seat side and being a bit of a playmaker. I love to see that. And it's a very dominant round as well. 5 guys alive.
It's amazing how things have turned around based on that round from Frozen. That's utterly ridiculous. Just shattered Heroic now, who were threatening to just run away with the entire game here, but things have changed in a very, very big way. Although they are back on the bye. mousesports have reduced the deficit to 3. See if they can keep up their success now, mousesports. Bemis has had a tough game. Not too late for him to turn it around, though. 5 for 11 at present. Starting with 4 players on this A bomb site are mousesports. Be very aggressive. Hops towards the B bomb site. Rock's caught in the smoke now. What does Nico choose to do? Got 2 players towards Ivy who were delayed by a Molotov earlier on. See Bemis elevated again. Be a pop flash up top. Cadian will clear one side. Nico heads towards ladder room where Borup is.
So normally you'd say that in a 4v4 that the Ts have an advantage, but I think on a map like Train, especially with so much util left on mousesports, it's not as severe as other maps because a part of the reason why that advantage might exist is because of rotation timings. And on Train, that's obviously a little bit different to some other maps. So that 1-for-1 there from Robs, I don't think is the worst thing in the world, especially given that Heroic here, they've only got a single smoke remaining and a couple Molotovs and 3 flashbangs. And they don't have position on a site yet. So it's going to be perhaps all of their utility just to get a site. And with that said, there's a lot of counter utility for mousesports and not much time on the clock. So mousesports are in a great position right now to defend this round. And you can see the desperation coming in. Heroic have to force the issue through the choke points, all of which are held. Frozen keeps fragging, and now the rest of his teammates are starting to get on the board as well. And that CT side of Train, it's so comfortable for a team like mousesports. Maybe, yeah, sure, that T side's a little bit awkward, but it's really easy to fall into some routines on this CT side, I think.
And that was the difference we saw yesterday in the C9 game with their new player, right? Like we saw their struggles a little bit on the CT side. I just love that mousesports are just cocky enough where they keep on pushing, right? Even pushing in inner there in a 4-on-4 situation, it just provides so much intel. Had they just played the bomb site there, chances are they would have just played 2-2 and would have been a much weaker hold for outside when Heroic actually makes this push. But we see on minimap here that they're all 4 here. We have one guy just very quick on the flank, and 3 members from Heroic just stands their positions waiting for it.
Yeah, it might force.
Comeback is real, might be.
It might force Heroic to start playing a lot quicker and maybe go to a more kind of set piece, like fast set piece style of play to sort of throw off mousesports, who seem to be kind of winning the slow pace right now. I feel like a change of pace is necessary here for Heroic.
I think we have a technical. We have 2 guys restarting their game. Maybe they're changing skins because we talked about it. They weren't happy with what they got.
After knife rounds, I always ask the captain to wait while I decide if I want to mix things up.
That's the one thing I wish that they would have fixed, like you could customize a little bit more. You don't have to disconnect.
Yeah.
Heck, even the whole thing with like the M4s, like I would love for it to just be like one of those things of them. I can't afford a A1 right now. I'm going to buy the silencer armor because I need it.
Yeah, I feel like what is the downside of that? Especially, I mean, if you look at how the game is now, I feel like it's really difficult on the CT sides, and that would probably help them, where there's just so much pressure from the T side, especially with more money, kind of benefits the higher pressure game, I feel like, for the Ts. But I don't know how you'd manage the slot numbers and so on, but that's something that's definitely solvable. So
I don't know. I feel like if you have, I feel like it's fixable, right? Like it must be if you press like buy menu and then 4, you get the rifle, and then you click on the A4, and then because you have this new option, you just get 2 options, right? You click 4-2-2 or whatever.
Yeah,
4-1-1. I have buy scripts, so I don't even know how to buy with the B and whatever. I don't even know. I think whenever I end up doing it now, because the CS:GO has the scout where the I think AK used to be. So like it's always a misbuy of a scout.
That's a proper old school.
Yeah, it's super old school, man. Like,
I miss the text menu. That the option to have like a pure text menu.
Right, yeah.
Just like very, very, not that the wheel's necessarily like high impact or something, but I like the potato-ness of it. That was always one fun thing going to the tournament room at QuakeCon, is you could see just how insane everybody's setup was from one person to the next. They were completely different and kind of more restricted in CSGO in some ways. Always have the resolution though to show some personality, I suppose. 11-9. The gap is not that big now, and Karrigan causing some problems towards upper B. Very brazen play from Karrigan. We're seeing round after round. Robs wants to boost him down the ladder, apparently. The remainder of Heroic now, upper B.
Yeah, and this is another nice aggressive play from Karrigan. We see the buy from Heroic, and Staven has a Mac 10, so they were going to go for an inner execute here. Maybe not a rush, but they wanted to be quick by the time that they actually pulled off the execute. But they lost a member already, so 4 on 5. They're down on bomb site though. Haven't really spotted drops yet though. And here we go. Yep, looking to be another good hold from mousesports. As I say that, Dimas doesn't get that kill on Staven.
Down he goes. 3 players alive for mousesports. The gap is close to 1. Heroic, they will have mean intentions in this round. Karrigan currently 21 for 15, 7 ahead of anyone else on his team. 3 of his players in the single digits, while everybody is 10 or above on Heroic. They did start on the easier side though. So we'll see how mousesports progress.
This would be the time to rein it in if you're Heroic. Oh, Cadian going down immediately there. That's some great pressure coming through with all that utility early on from mousesports. And they've got control of Ivy too. That Ivy smoke is really annoying, and it creates a window too where mousesports don't have to worry about that position really, and they can put their attention elsewhere. And speaking of which, Nico creeps upper, but Robs is cognizant of this possibility, able to defend that as well. And this is that thing I was talking about before. You're down 3 against 5 on the T side. You don't have options at this point. You just have to try to force the issue, and they're going to try to do so against A-Core. They're able to get him to reposition with all that utility, and he will get the bomb down. But what is the post-plant positioning like? It's not very. There's not many options.
Rob's trying to find something with the AWP. Still a man advantage for mousesports. Exchange through the smoke, and Frozen gets the better of it. Storm that surely should have been a kill there. Really missed some opportunities now, and there are none left for Heroic in this round as mousesports will tie the score. 4 players alive. Really needed, as we can see. Rob's just on $1,000 at the moment. Bemis on 2.5. So this is much needed money to AWPs as well. Strong round for them.
Yeah, and 4 alive there as well. At least Heroic getting the bomb down. I think they've had the most success here the last 2 rounds. And again, we talk about just stringing rounds together and stuff like that. You know, one of the setups we could see here from, for example, Heroic last round with a semi-buy round, and then this round as well, they focus on inner, and it might just be a play for mousesports to try and focus that a little bit more for Heroic to get. Might find an opening for outside, hoping that they'll play a 3-2 setup here on the CT side this round. And they do a setup. Yeah, I was going to say, they do look exactly what I was talking about, like the setup that they actually force themselves into, but they do have a very quick round. So mousesports, all 4 members still here on the outside. But it's a full-blown chaos. 3 on 2 now, down to favor of mousesports.
That was a noble pre-fire attempt onto A-Core, but he was ready for it. Down to a 2 on 2 now. Borup managing to catch A-Core from Sandwich. Revenge is had. And that leaves Robson on 1 versus 2 with the AWP. Not sure where he is just yet, though. Having a look in that angle towards Olaf. We'll see if he has a flick in him, as Cadian is threatening to peek from Ivy. Oh, Borup has to be real careful. Tagged, legged. Cadian doesn't have the angle for an instant trade. He hears Robs rotate, though, towards that A-bomb site. He knows he's tagged Borup. The pistol is out. Jumping off at the right time to start. That sound cue surely heard, but Cadian with the deagle from Old Bomb will put Heroic back in the lead. Maybe a little pressure was what was required. Heroic now on 12.
Yeah, this is something we didn't see from mousesports at all on their T side. Just a very quick round outside. You know, they get the entry on the ladder room there as well, but I do think it's from the setup as well that we talked about, the initial stringing rounds together with the 2 plays inner. mousesports had 4 members outside though, still, so it came down to just Heroic hitting the shots. But I like the change of pace. mousesports with a lot of money though, so it's another buy round for him. Again, we see Acadian trying to go down ladder room as well, getting the control there. Forces mousesports out of it, so Heroic technically now has ladder control, they just don't know about it.
That T-main position is always really important for the TT side. So much info. And here comes the push. I think mousesports know well and truly what's going on at this point. Nice defensive kill from Robs. That is huge. Even though he goes down, thinning out the numbers early on can be helpful. And does slow the approach for Heroic. And Frozen's timing on this flank is going to be immaculate here as he comes in. There's Cadian, has absolutely no idea. Another freebie is offered up to Frozen, leaving Tessus and Storm alone in this one. And they are isolated away from one another. And their chances are looking quite desperate here. Storm able to get Frozen at least. He's still alive, still looking for ways to save this, but it's really not all that much for him to do. So
Cadian has no idea because he thinks Staven is holding flank, and the timing there just prevents him from holding it. I'm sure the call is made of like, yeah, I have flank now, because Staven was coming, I think, from Ivy T-Con area. Frozen was so quick though on the flank, so he misses him, which is what kind of leaves. We see minimap here. Look at what Staven is already now. You know, he's just walking past Pop right now. So good timing from mousesports. Nice retake as well there. Rob's getting the entry, but not going to really help them in that situation. It's another, we talk about just the economy on the CT side, and they still have a lot of money left in their bank. So uphill battle from Heroic, but it's a good start here nonetheless. Another fast round.
With the fast death for Tessus. Early 5v4 for mousesports. Good control of the A-bomb site despite the smoke grenades, but reinforcements are coming for Heroic, and they're going just as quickly with Acor dropping Borup. Down he goes in the hands of Nico, the opening kill for Heroic. They've got a lot of work to be done here. Carrigan in the smoke will make things even worse. Bringing over towards Cadian. Stereo frags. Nico and Cadian going down, and things are getting more difficult for Heroic, as we can see. Still calm faces though. But this is proving to be a difficult T-side for both teams.
Yeah, and I think for both teams, we haven't really seen these mid-round takes for outside either. We've seen the fast takes for ladder room. We've seen them being a little bit sloppy about it. Same on mousesports T side. We haven't really seen them try and take it after mousesports waste a little bit of smoke, so they have an easier time just getting some map control. But a timeout was called at least, so I think Heroic have been talking about it, trying to figure out a way through the mousesports defense. Not a lot of money here, so it's going to see a half buy. A lot of nades though, so we talk about buys like this. Obviously, again, we're looking for a round win, but added bonus, getting the bomb down, doing some economical damage on that CT side.
It feels like to me that the CT side of mousesports is better than Heroic's CT side, but Heroic were not up against a particularly great T side. I feel like Heroic's T side is better than mousesports T side.
I can agree, yeah. I can agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I can agree with that because I feel like Heroic on their CT side didn't really have to do much. You know, they just had to hold, whereas for mousesports, I do think that Heroic they're getting more map control. So mousesports do have to fight a little bit more to get back the spots, even retakes and stuff like that. You know, I think that we've seen more plans as well coming in from Heroic, and mousesports having to retake a little bit more.
And mousesports is more active in general, like, you know, going for that team main control, those flanks, the aggressions, the IV shutdowns, you know, the deep IV smokes. Yeah, they're just more active on the CT side too. Yeah, a really interesting dynamic. It looks really good for mousesports to win this map, which is, if you know, watch that first half, you'd be very surprised. But such is the life of Train.
Such is the life of a caster curse as well. Gosh darn it. The Betway odds, man. You're gonna come back to haunt me. It's another inner execute. Just a default in the beginning, and at least this time around, mousesports are not pushing, so in terms of information play, they don't have it. So this could be at least a bomb plant, and could be an exciting round, nonetheless, for Heroic. But here we go.
A multi-man swing down the side. It's kind of a crossfire here for mousesports. Carrigan only good for one. They try to buy some time. No default plant coming in, and Heroic may look to spread further into this the bomb site, and indeed they'll do that, creating some space with a smoke. And the sweep from Tessus, a brazen play. They are ill-equipped for this heroic, so risks must be taken. Now they've got a man advantage to mousesports.
Smart play by mousesports here. They just wait for the smokes to fade. Obviously, man advantage and also weapon advantage. Good run by heroic nonetheless, getting the bomb down, but based on the round that, or based on the spend that they had, they only got Kerrigan and you know, getting the bomb down. I think that they would probably hold for a little bit more. And Kerrigan dropping 30 here now. Great series by him so far.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
And he's been super active. That's what I really like watching Kerrigan's team in general, because I think Kerrigan just provides so much space and value, so much information when he does do these plays. I think having him frag at the same time, just, you know, it's an extra benefit. But I think it does a good job with his teams. So you're 14-12 now. A fast round outside, trying to get some map control. It is a trade, so would argue it benefits the T's. Creates a little bit more space around the map. We're going to see the round slowing down here now a little bit.
Very dangerous position for Ops there up on the ramp. There's a lurk smoke the CTs like to throw. I think that was a molly smoke combo on that occasion, but essentially the same as a lurk smoke the CTs can throw. So creep up behind it, look over the top of it, or hide in that elevated position. Minutes on the clock in the 4v4. Tessa still above B. Just okay, no grenades for him. And there's a fact-finding mission, but I was going to say it's poorly timed, but Frozen has the angle and Rops delivers as well. Things go from bad to worse for Heroic. Indeed, looked like a lock-in for this map in the first half, but it seems to be slipping away from them. Does he dare go through the smoke? What other options are there? Maybe to save for the next round.
Yeah, you save here, I think. You just don't have enough money, and then if you, especially if you want an op for next round, you're not going to be able to afford it. So 35 seconds left. Sure, there's a lot of time to run down on the clock, but I do think that they're probably going to be going for it. But this is a very risky situation. We know that mousesports have 2 guys inner, and that's a shutdown. Yeah, I think mousesports just playing a very good CT side right now, doing a really good job on the crossfires and the trade game as well.
They have a really good sense of Heroic's pacing on any given rounds, and they know sort of how to pace their own pushes to try to catch them off guard, and that's just such a strong way also to tackle a team that's defaulting. If you know which rounds they're defaulting and you know how to pace your push, it can be so difficult to recover after losing someone when you're mid default. mousesports is set up so nicely here. Aggressive take outside. That's going to be the call here for Heroic. Still unable to trade onto Bemis, and they're getting some ground. This is looking better here now for Heroic.
It really is. They've got a man advantage for the time being, but when these smokes go, maybe variants will start. And there's Kerrigan with a 2K, switches out for another weapon. Robs comes through as well as Acor. And just like that, things change dramatically, and mousesports turn it around in just a few seconds. Round of applause from Kerrigan. That was quite a CT side from them.
Super dominant. Yeah, even at the last round there, I mean, we see it again. Kerrigan just stepping up, getting the 2 kills there. Heroic not really clearing the bomb site, waiting for the smokes to fade, but mousesports. Yeah, I think mousesports just being an overall. I think Dan kind of nailed it. I think Heroic's CT side was good, but I don't think that mousesports really put him to the test. Versus, I think Heroic was much more active on their T side, putting mousesports in a much more better position to kind of be a little bit more active around the map. So, but that's it for map 1. Mousesports take it 1-0 up. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back for map 2.